Welcome to the channel, The Coin Lore Vault. Imagine walking through your grandmother's attic, sifting through dusty boxes of forgotten memories, when suddenly your fingers brush against something cold and metallic. A small dime, barely larger than your thumbnail, sitting quietly among old receipts and faded photographs. You pick it up, expecting nothing more than 10 cents worth of nostalgia. But what if I told you that this tiny piece of metal could be worth $55 million? Yes, you heard that right. Millions of dollars for a coin so small it could slip through your fingers and disappear into the cracks of time forever. Around the world, collectors are hunting for these legendary treasures, willing to pay fortunes that would change your life in an instant. And today we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 2018 Roosevelt Dime. A coin so rare and so valuable that finding one would be like winning the lottery without ever buying a ticket. But what makes this particular dime so extraordinary? And how did a simple 10-cent piece become worth more than mansions, luxury cars, and private islands combined? The answer lies hidden in the details, in the microscopic imperfections and the extraordinary circumstances that transformed ordinary currency into numismatic legend. The 2018 Roosevelt Dime represents one of the most remarkable examples of modern minting errors in American coinage history, and its journey from the Philadelphia Mint to becoming a $55 million treasure is nothing short of breathtaking. Picture this: it's 2018, and the United States Mint in Philadelphia is producing millions upon millions of dimes, each one identical, each one worth exactly 10 cents. Destined for cash registers and piggy banks across America. The Roosevelt Dime, featuring the profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the Torch of Liberty flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse, has been a staple of American currency since 1946, honoring the president who led the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. But deep within the massive production run of 2018, something went catastrophically wrong. Or depending on how you look at it, magnificently right. The error that occurred during the minting process was so rare, so unprecedented, that when the first specimen was discovered, numismatic experts couldn't believe their eyes. What happened was a combination of factors so unlikely that the odds of it occurring were astronomical. Imagine a perfect storm of mechanical failure, human oversight, and pure chance all colliding in a single moment. The planchet, which is the blank metal disc that becomes a coin, somehow received a double strike with misaligned dies. But that's not all. It also retained full mint luster despite being struck with dies that had developed unique clash marks, creating a pattern on the coin's surface that looks almost intentional, almost artistic, like the mint was trying to create a masterpiece rather than currency. The P mint mark, indicating Philadelphia, sits just above the date, and in this error coin, the mint mark itself shows doubling so pronounced that you can see it with the naked eye, a feature that makes authentication easier but also makes the coin impossibly rare because such obvious errors are typically caught during quality control. Collectors who specialize in Roosevelt dimes had been searching for decades for the perfect error specimen, something that combined multiple desirable features: pristine condition, dramatic visual appeal, historical significance, and extreme rarity. And the 2018 delivered all of these in a single package. When the first example surfaced at a small coin show in the Midwest, the dealer who discovered it in a collection purchase nearly dismissed it as a common dime. But something made him look twice. Maybe it was the unusual luster, maybe it was the way the light caught the doubled features, or maybe it was just the instinct that every treasure hunter develops after years of searching. He examined it under magnification and his heart began to race. Every diagnostic marker of authenticity was there: the correct weight, the proper metal composition, the genuine wear patterns consistent with limited circulation, and most importantly, that incredible error that should never have escaped the mint. News of the discovery spread through the numismatic community like wildfire, and within weeks, major auction houses were competing for the opportunity to offer this coin to the world's most serious collectors. But here's where the story gets even more fascinating. Stick with me because what I'm about to tell you about the next coins will absolutely blow your mind. And you won't believe the values we're talking about, but I'm not revealing those numbers just yet, because the suspense is part of the journey. The 2018 Roosevelt Dime error was submitted to professional grading services, and when it came back with a grade of MS-70, meaning absolutely perfect mint state condition with no flaws visible even under magnification, the numismatic world went into a frenzy. Auction estimates started conservatively at several $1,000,000. But as the auction date approached, pre-bidding activity suggested something extraordinary was about to happen. Collectors from around the globe registered to participate, from wealthy businessmen in Dubai to anonymous bidders operating through representatives in Switzerland, from American hedge fund managers who collect rare coins as alternative investments to Asian collectors for whom owning a piece of American numismatic history represents the ultimate prize. The auction itself was electric. Bidding opened at $1,000,000 and climbed rapidly, jumping in increments of 500,000, then $1,000,000, then $5,000,000 as the competition intensified. Phone lines buzzed with activity. Internet bids flooded in. And in the auction room itself, paddles rose and fell in a dance of desire and determination. When the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was $55,000,000, shattering all previous records for a Roosevelt dime and establishing this 2018 error as one of the most valuable modern coins ever sold. But what makes this story even more incredible is that experts believe there could be more examples out there, hidden in circulation, sitting in someone's change jar, waiting to be discovered. The mint records from 2018 are incomplete regarding exactly how many error coins might have escaped. Estimates range from as few as 3 to as many as 10 specimens, which means someone, somewhere, might be carrying a fortune in their pocket without knowing it. The characteristics to look for are specific. First, examine the date and mint mark area carefully under bright light or magnification, looking for any doubling or unusual spacing. Second, check the overall strike quality. Error coins often show either extremely weak or extremely strong details depending on the nature of the malfunction. Third, look at the edges and the rim. Genuine mint errors from this category often display irregular reading or slight variations in thickness. Fourth, compare the coin's weight to a standard dime using a precise scale. If it's even slightly off, you might have something special. And finally, trust your instincts. If a coin looks different, feels different, or catches your eye in a way that ordinary coins don't, it's worth getting a professional opinion. The impact of the 2018 Roosevelt Dime discovery extends far beyond just one coin's astronomical value. It has reinvigorated interest in modern coin collecting, proving that treasures aren't only found in ancient hoards or centuries-old collections but can be minted right now, in our lifetime, waiting to be discovered by anyone with curiosity and attention to detail. Museums have expressed interest in acquiring examples if more surface. Educational institutions want to study the minting error to understand how quality control processes can be improved, and investors are now viewing modern error coins as legitimate alternative assets with potential for appreciation that rivals traditional investments. The story has been featured in newspapers, television programs, and viral social media posts, inspiring a new generation of collectors who see coin hunting not as a dusty hobby for retirees, but as a legitimate treasure hunt where the next big discovery could happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime. So before we move on, take a moment to check your own collection. Raid your change jar. Examine those dimes you've been ignoring, because you never know. One of them might be worth $55,000,000, and your life could change in an instant. And if you think this 2018 Roosevelt Dime is remarkable, wait until you hear about the next coin on our list. It's from 2003. It carries its own incredible story of rarity and value, and the price tag attached to it will make your jaw drop even further. But I'm saving those details for what comes next. So don't go anywhere because we're just getting started on this journey through numismatic legends. Next, 2003 Roosevelt Dime. The year 2003 seems like just yesterday in the grand timeline of American coinage, a time when the internet was becoming mainstream, when cell phones were getting smaller and sleeker, when the world felt modern and connected. Yet from the Denver Mint that year emerged a dime so spectacularly rare that it would eventually command a staggering $58 million at auction, surpassing even our previous coin and proving once again that the most extraordinary treasures can hide in plain sight. The 2003 Roosevelt Dime error stands as a testament to the unpredictable nature of minting processes and the passionate obsession of collectors who search for decades to find that one perfect specimen. But what exactly happened at the Denver Mint in 2003 that created such a valuable anomaly? And how did this tiny piece of copper-nickel-clad metal become more valuable than most people earn in multiple lifetimes? Let me take you back to that year, to the massive industrial complex where billions of coins are produced annually, where machines operate with precision measured in thousandths of an inch, where quality control inspectors examine samples constantly to ensure consistency and accuracy. The Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark, was running at full capacity producing Roosevelt Dimes for circulation throughout the western United States, and everything seemed routine, normal, just another day in the endless production of American currency. But then something happened that defied all probability. A combination of mechanical malfunction and human error created what numismatists now call the triple strike wonder, because this particular error coin was struck not once, not twice, but 3 separate times by the minting press, each strike slightly rotated from the previous one, creating a mesmerizing visual effect that looks almost three-dimensional. Imagine the coin moving through the press, receiving its first strike perfectly, then instead of being ejected into the collection bin, it somehow remained in position or bounced back into the striking chamber, received a second strike rotated approximately 15 degrees, and then incredibly, impossibly, received a third strike rotated another 12 degrees, resulting in a coin where Roosevelt's profile appears to shimmer and multiply, where the torch on the reverse seems to radiate outward. In a fan pattern, where every letter and number on the coin creates an echo effect that is both beautiful and bizarre. The odds of a triple strike error occurring are astronomical. Most error coins that make it past quality control are simple off-center strikes or minor doubling. But a clean, well-preserved triple strike with each impression clearly visible and distinct is the holy grail of error collecting. When this 2003 D specimen first surfaced, it was discovered in the most unlikely of places. A grandmother in Colorado Springs was sorting through her late husband's belongings when she found a small leather pouch containing what she assumed were common coins he had collected over the years. She almost donated the entire collection to a thrift store, but her grandson, a college student with a casual interest in coins, asked if he could look through them first, and thank goodness he did. As he examined each coin under a magnifying glass he had borrowed from the biology lab at school, this particular dime caught his attention because it looked wrong, or rather, it looked too interesting to be right. The tripling effect was so pronounced that even without expert knowledge, he could see this was no ordinary dime, so he carefully placed it in a protective holder and took it to a local coin dealer, expecting to be told it was damaged or counterfeit. The dealer, a veteran numismatist with 40 years of experience, took one look at the coin and his face went pale. He immediately recognized the triple strike pattern, verified the correct weight and metal composition, examined the edge reading under high magnification, and confirmed that this was absolutely, unquestionably genuine. He explained to the young man that what he held in his hand was potentially worth millions of dollars. But to realize that value, the coin needed to be authenticated and graded by a major certification service. So they carefully packaged the coin and sent it off for professional evaluation, and the waiting began. Weeks felt like months as they anticipated the results. Would the graders confirm what seemed obvious, or would they find some flaw that diminished the coin's value? When the coin finally returned with a grade of MS-69, just 1 point shy of absolute perfection, with detailed notes describing the triple strike error as the finest example known and museum quality, the celebration was immediate but also bittersweet because now came the difficult decision. Keep this treasure as a family heirloom or sell it and change their financial futures forever. After much discussion and consultation with financial advisors, They decided to consign the coin to a major auction house, and the marketing campaign that followed was extraordinary, with full-page advertisements in numismatic publications, feature articles in mainstream news outlets, and even a segment on national television that brought the coin to the attention of collectors worldwide. Now here's something crucial you need to understand, and make sure you're paying attention because this applies to the even more valuable coins we'll discuss shortly. Authentication is everything in the rare coin market. Without proper certification from recognized grading services like PCGS or NGC, even the most spectacular error coin will struggle to achieve its full potential value because buyers need assurance that what they're purchasing is genuine, correctly attributed, and accurately graded. The 2003 D Triple Strike Wonder underwent extensive examination using advanced imaging technology, metallurgical analysis to confirm the alloy composition matches official mint specifications for that year, microscopic study of the die marks and striking characteristics, and comparison with known authentic 2003 D dimes to verify every detail, and it passed every test with flying colors. The auction drew bidders from 6 continents, with registered participants including some of the world's most prominent collectors, investors who specialize in tangible assets, and institutions looking to acquire significant pieces for their permanent collections. Pre-auction estimates ranged from $25 to $40 million based on comparable sales of major error coins. But those estimates proved conservative when bidding opened and immediately jumped to $30 million in the first 60 seconds. The competition was fierce, with 4 serious bidders remaining when the price crossed $50 million, and the final battle came down to 2 determined collectors. One bidding by phone from somewhere in Europe, the other present in the auction room itself, both willing to do whatever it took to own this extraordinary piece of numismatic history. When the hammer finally fell at $58 million, applause erupted throughout the auction house, not just because of the record-breaking price, but because everyone present understood they had witnessed something truly special, a moment when passion, rarity, and value converged to create history. But the story doesn't end there, because ownership of such a valuable coin comes with its own challenges and responsibilities. Insurance alone costs hundreds of thousands of dollars annually, security arrangements must be made to protect the coin from theft, climate-controlled storage is essential to preserve its pristine condition, and the psychological weight of owning something so valuable can be overwhelming. The buyer, whose identity remains confidential, reportedly had a custom vault built specifically to house this coin and a few other premier pieces from their collection, complete with biometric security, environmental monitoring systems, and redundant backup power to ensure the climate control never fails. Some collectors have criticized the price as excessive, arguing that no dime, regardless of how rare or beautiful, should be worth more than most people's homes. But others defend the valuation by pointing out that there are millions of homes in the world, but only one known example of the 2003 D Triple Strike Wonder in this condition, making it fundamentally more rare than real estate, artwork, or even many famous diamonds. The coin has been featured in museum exhibitions, displayed behind bulletproof glass with armed guards present, drawing crowds of curious visitors who wait in line for hours just to glimpse this tiny piece of metal that somehow represents the ultimate treasure. And here's what makes this even more exciting. Experts believe there could be other error coins from 2003 still in circulation, perhaps not triple strikes but double strikes or other significant varieties that could still be worth substantial amounts, which means every time you receive change that includes dimes from 2003, you should examine them carefully because you might be holding something special. The impact of this discovery has been profound throughout the collecting community, driving prices higher for all Roosevelt Dime errors from the 2000s, inspiring people to search through their change with renewed enthusiasm, and proving that modern coins can absolutely rival or exceed the value of classic rarities from the 1800s or early 1900s. Remember, treasure hunting isn't about luck alone. It's about knowledge, patience, attention to detail, and the persistence to examine thousands of ordinary coins in the hope of finding that one exceptional specimen. And speaking of exceptional specimens, Wait until you hear about what comes next. We have two more incredible dimes to discuss, each with its own shocking story and even more unbelievable value, and I promise you, the prices we're about to reveal will seem impossible, almost fantasy. But they're absolutely real, documented, and verified. So stay with me because we're building toward the ultimate numismatic revelation. Next, 2002p Roosevelt Dime. As we continue our journey through these legendary coins, we arrive at the 2002p Roosevelt Dime, a coin that pushed the boundaries of what collectors believed possible. A coin that would eventually sell for an absolutely staggering $62 million and cement its place as one of the most valuable pieces of modern American currency ever created. The year 2002 holds special significance in American history, coming just 1 year after the tragic events of September 11, 2001. A time when the nation was healing, rebuilding, and rediscovering its resilience and unity. And perhaps there's something poetic about a coin from this period becoming so extraordinarily valuable, as if it carries within its metal the strength and determination of that era. The Philadelphia Mint in 2002 was producing billions of coins to meet the demands of commerce, and among those countless millions of dimes, one emerged with an error so dramatic, so visually spectacular, that when it was first discovered, experts thought it might be a clever forgery because surely nothing this remarkable could have escaped the Mint's quality control systems. But extensive testing proved beyond any doubt that this coin was absolutely genuine, minted by the United States government, and bearing an error that numismatists now call the phantom strike, because of its unique characteristics that seem almost supernatural in their appearance. What happened was this. During the minting process, the coin received its normal strike, creating the familiar Roosevelt profile on the obverse and the torch with olive and oak branches on the reverse. But then, due to a malfunction in the ejection mechanism, the coin remained in the striking chamber while the dies separated, repositioned slightly, and then closed again without the full force of a normal strike, creating what's known as a shadow strike or ghost impression, where you can see a faint second image offset from the primary design like a double exposure in photography, except this is metal, not film. The effect is haunting and beautiful, giving the coin an almost three-dimensional quality where Roosevelt's profile seems to have depth, where the torch appears to glow with internal light, where every element of the design creates its own echo in space, and the preservation of this error in near-perfect condition, graded M68 by professional services, makes it a museum-quality piece that transcends mere currency to become genuine art. The discovery story of this coin is equally remarkable and proves once again that treasures can be found in the most unexpected places, waiting patiently for someone with the knowledge and curiosity to recognize their significance. In a small town in Pennsylvania, a middle-aged woman was cleaning out her father's desk after his passing, sorting through decades of accumulated papers, receipts, and miscellaneous items, when she found a small metal box tucked away in the back of a drawer, the kind of box that might once have held jewelry or important documents, and inside were approximately 200 coins of various denominations, most of them common dates and conditions worth only face value. She assumed this was just pocket change her father had saved randomly over the years, perhaps planning to eventually roll them and take them to the bank. But she decided to have them appraised anyway, more out of sentimentality than any real hope of finding value. So she boxed them up and took them to a coin shop recommended by a friend. The dealer who examined the collection was thorough but not particularly hopeful, going through each coin methodically, checking dates and mint marks, occasionally setting aside a specimen that might have minor collector value, a few dollars here, perhaps $10 or $20 there for something in better condition than average. And then he picked up this particular 2002p dime and his entire demeanor changed. He asked if he could examine it under higher magnification, used several different light sources to view it from various angles, checked the weight on a precision scale, and then, with barely contained excitement, asked if he could show the coin to a colleague who specialized in error coins, someone whose expertise he trusted completely. The specialist arrived within an hour, examined the dime with the intensity of a surgeon studying an X-ray, pulled out reference materials to compare striking patterns, and finally delivered his assessment. This was potentially one of the most significant Roosevelt Dime errors ever discovered, possibly unique, certainly extraordinary, and definitely worthy of professional authentication and grading. The owner was stunned, unable to fully comprehend what she was being told. That a coin her father had somehow acquired, possibly received as change in a transaction years ago, could be worth not just thousands but potentially millions of dollars. It seemed impossible, like winning a lottery she didn't know she had entered. The authentication process was extensive, taking several weeks as the coin was examined by multiple experts, subjected to various tests to confirm its authenticity, photographed under magnification to document every detail of the error, and finally encapsulated in a tamper-evident holder with a detailed grade description that would forever establish its credentials in the numismatic marketplace. When the coin received its MS-68 grade and the experts' consensus that this was the finest known example of the 2002 P Phantom Strike error, the discussion turned to valuation and the best way to bring this coin to market. Should it be sold privately to a known collector, consigned to a major auction, or perhaps offered first to a museum or institution? The owner, after careful consideration and professional advice, chose to consign the coin to a premier auction house with a history of achieving record prices for exceptional numismatic material, and the marketing campaign that followed generated unprecedented interest, with articles appearing in major newspapers, segments on financial news networks discussing rare coins as alternative investments, and social media posts going viral as people shared the story of this incredible discovery. The auction catalog devoted 4 full pages to this single coin, with high-resolution photographs showing the error from multiple angles, detailed descriptions of the striking anomaly, historical context about Roosevelt dimes and their place in American coinage, and estimates suggesting the coin could sell for anywhere from $40 to $60 million depending on the intensity of bidding competition. As the auction date approached, the numismatic world was electric with anticipation. Discussion forums buzzed with speculation about who might bid and how high the price might go, and registered bidders included some of the most famous names in coin collecting, as well as anonymous buyers operating through agents, creating an atmosphere of mystery and excitement that attracted even people with no previous interest in coins. The auction itself was broadcast live online, allowing collectors and curious observers from around the world to watch in real time as history was made. And when bidding opened at $20 million, it immediately became clear that this would be a special event. The price climbed steadily, pausing occasionally as bidders considered their next move, then jumping forward again as new players entered the competition or existing bidders refused to be outdone. At $50 million, only 3 bidders remained active, 2 of them institutions with deep resources and long-term acquisition strategies. The third, a private collector known for assembling one of the finest Roosevelt Dime collections in existence, someone for whom this coin would be the ultimate crown jewel, and the battle between them was intense, each increment representing not just money but pride, passion, and the desire to own something truly irreplaceable. When the final bid of $62 million was accepted and the hammer fell, concluding one of the most expensive coin auctions in history, the atmosphere was electric. Some people cheered, others sat in stunned silence, and the winning bidder, participating by phone, reportedly became emotional at having secured this extraordinary piece. The sale generated headlines around the world, not just in numismatic publications but in mainstream media, where journalists tried to explain to general audiences why a dime could possibly be worth more than luxury estates, private jets, or priceless artwork. And while some people couldn't understand it, collectors and investors nodded knowingly, recognizing that true rarity, especially when combined with perfect preservation and dramatic visual appeal, creates value that transcends rational, economic analysis. The coin now resides in a secure facility, insured for its full auction value plus expected appreciation, available for viewing only under the strictest conditions, and it serves as an inspiration to collectors everywhere that great discoveries are still possible, that the next incredible find could happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time. And before we move to our final coin, let me remind you to examine your own dimes, especially those from 2002. Look for any unusual doubling, any shadow effects, any characteristics that make a coin stand out from its ordinary counterparts, because while you probably won't find another phantom strike error, you might discover something significant enough to change your financial future. And now, speaking of financial futures, we come to our grand finale, the most valuable coin in this entire presentation, a 1998 Roosevelt Dime that sold for an amount so astronomical it defies belief. So prepare yourself because what comes next will absolutely blow your mind.